All right, uh, kind of continuing from the earlier video, we're looking at the same city. I kind of opened up a little more of the screen so you can see the left window a little bit, trying to keep the video size big. But going to the whole production question of choosing whether or not to do a cottage or a production, kind of starting off with the principle of it's useless to have a level 9 cottage next to a level 1 quarry. Sure, a level 9 might be modifying by 45%, but a level 1 quarry is only producing, I think, 20, so that huge percentage boost is only being applied to a small base. In the same way, it isn't a great idea to advance your base resource to a very large number and only modify it a little bit. So I typically believe that your cottages and your resources, as well as your overproducers, the stonemasons and the sawmills, should probably stay within 1 to 2 of each other. However, whether you are leading on the cottage side or the resource side, within that 1 or 2 either way, to me has a lot to do with maintaining a constant building queue. For example, here I have 9 minutes and 26 seconds left on this queue. I'm actually setting up for a night cycle, so I'm probably going to actually cut a resource here shortly. But the idea is to keep your production queue going, particularly when you're dealing with your first city, or like in the case of my second city. Actually, I'll jump over there. That's a much better example. You've got a more full queue. I will not let this city's queue stop, not once, not for a second. So as far as what to do in what order, I'll jump back to my main city here. As far as what to do in what order, to me, it's a balance. There's people that say, oh, just push your construction speed. That's got a huge value. That's up here. There's others that say, or actually, a lot of people focus more on resources. To me, it's one or the other. It's where is your bottleneck going to be? As a matter of fact, I just dumped a bunch of resources out of this city. But if I hadn't, let's say I was actually building this city. Let's use this as an example, actually. My construction speed is 2,140%. However, in 8 minutes, I'm going to have nothing building. Now, if this was earlier in my first city, if I wasn't dumping my resources into my second city, this would be the worst case situation. I wouldn't want to allow this to happen. Because the building queue ultimately, I think, is our long-term pacer, if you will. So if I had a super low construction speed, I would be producing so many resources that I couldn't build it fast enough. However, if I pump my construction speed too fast, I don't really want to pump a higher construction speed, because just because I can build it faster, it just means I'm going to hurry up and finish building everything and then be waiting on resources again. So earlier in this process, I was really tracking, and I am in the other city, I was really tracking my resource development along with my construction speed and trying to plot what was my next bottleneck, what was the thing that was most likely to make me wait next. And that sometimes I'd push cottages for that reason. Now, cottages also enhance production, so they're never a bad thing. But typically, if you let your cottages, let's say I'd had all level 8, 9 cottages here, but my resources were still down in the 3s, 4s. If I was in that situation, I would be, that would be way too far advanced. I'd be over, building, but not producing enough. So, to me, it's kind of a matter of steering the ship and trying to predict what I'm going to need the most as I see my construction queue filling up and my resources starting to build up. I want to start putting those resources into cottages. Also, there's a little bit of a balance between stone and wood. Wood is typically your leading resource to advance your base resources, where when you're advancing cottages, you're using more stone than wood. So kind of teeter-tottering back and forth between building those two buildings, and the number one goal, making sure that your construction queue, your building queue, never stops. That was probably the biggest thing, I think, is to make sure that the construction queue stays cranking it out. So I'm going to try to keep these short, so I'm going to stop this one here, just covering that one piece.